The information in this video is provided for informational and educational purposes only.
Welcome to Dose of DN, where you'll get a little shot of what my life is like living with SMA. Today I have a special treat for you. We have a lot of great columnists here at SMA News Today, and today I'm joined with one of them. Take a look. I'm here today with Halsey Blocher. Did I get your name right?
Yes, you did.
Yay! She's a columnist here at SMA News Today. And can you give me a little information about yourself for everyone?
Yeah, I don't know what everyone wants to know, but yes, I'm Halsey. I've been a columnist with Bio News on our SMA News Today website for 3 years now, and have another management position there as well. And I'm a SMA Type 1 in the Midwest, not too terribly far from UDN in Indiana. So
That's why I was surprised you're in a different time zone than I am.
yeah, Indiana's a little funny. We're split in half with the time zone.
Oh, okay. So yeah. Um, so you're a columnist for Bio News, which is the parent company of SMA News Today. And I think a lot of people who have disabilities don't realize, oh, I can have a job and, be a contributing member of society and
Right.
like that. But what led you to becoming a columnist?
Yeah, writing is just something that I've always loved to do. And like growing up, that's what I wanted to be, was a writer. And when I started getting really serious about actually doing that professionally, I just kind of one day remembered, oh, hey, there's this website about SMA, and I know people who work there. So I reached out to a friend of mine who was at the time one of our columnists, and he helped me kind of get my foot in the door there. And yeah, it was just the perfect opportunity that I had been kind of looking for since I graduated to do what I always wanted to do.
That's awesome. And your columns always tend to have a positive spin on them. And I really like that. Where do you
Yeah.
get your inspiration from when you write your columns?
You can just get inspiration for different topics from so many places. Like I get them, around the dinner table conversations and random 2 a.m. thoughts and just all these little things that happen through the day. The more you do it, you're like, oh, I can turn all of this into a column. And that positive spin, that's just very much the way I am. That's the way I think. So even if something doesn't look positive at a glance, I'm going to take another look at it and see how can I make it positive.
So when you have those 2 a.m. random thoughts, how do you jot them down, or how do you remember them for your columns? Because I have that all the time and I don't have access to a pen and paper. So
Right.
what do you do?
I am the same way. So I just like lay awake and think about it for a little bit and pray that it's still there in the morning.
Okay. Well, one column of yours that kind of a lot of something from your columns always resonates with me, but one column in particular has stuck with me, and I think you wrote it over a year ago, and is called, let me get it right here. It's time to stop stigmatizing life-saving tracheostomy tubes. And this article of yours, it refers to a commercial, and I know exactly what commercial you're talking about, that uses the scare tactic of a tracheostomy tube to have people not smoke or quit smoking. And so in this column, you say, quote, threatening fear-based messages that suggest disabilities or chronic illnesses are scary only contribute to further isolation, ridicule, and discrimination of individuals living with these conditions. Now, I've always kind of had a fear in my mind of needing a trach. I know it's a common thing when you have SMA.
Yeah.
It leads down the road to a trach tube. And your column kind of made me realize, like, oh my gosh, that's kind of exactly why I'm afraid of a trach. You hear bad things and negative things. And even though I don't know necessarily if a trach is right for me, your article really opened my eyes that yes, it is a life-saving tool for a lot of people, including yourself. So what kind of response did you get from the article, and how do you respond to people?
Yeah, I mean, I really got way more of a response from that than I was expecting, even. And a lot of people responded the same way you did. Like, you were one of the first people that told me that was how you felt about it. And then after you, there were just more people that were like, Halsey, I still don't know if this is right for me. I'm still kind of afraid of it. But I really appreciate that you showed that this can be a good thing. And that kind of like opened my mind a little bit to, oh, I can keep talking about this actually. And so I wrote another column a little bit more recently. I think, what did I call it? I think it's called Grieving My Old Life and Accepting My Trach.
Yep, I read
And
that one too.
yeah, and that's kind of what sparked that. Because I'm like, what you're talking about and what these other people are telling me about their feelings, that's really, really valid. So I didn't want people to just like think, I was totally on board with this and this was a great idea. I just woke
Yeah,
up one day and was like, I want a trach. That's not
right.
what happened. And, that's okay. So I kind of wanted to lend to that. And so I kept talking about it, and hopefully, we'll find more avenues to keep talking about it and help people kind of process all of that, whatever decision they make. Because for some people, it's not the right choice, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But even if it is, that can be hard, and that's okay. It takes time to get to what I'm talking about in that first column that you're referencing, where, I look at this now as a blessing. It takes time to get there, and that's totally okay.
And I think if people don't think it's so scary, then
Right.
it's because when you when that negativity is attached to it, you just don't want it, or don't want to have anything to do with it.
Right. And
So if
growing
it's
up, like, that was just a huge stigma, even
yeah,
in the SMA community, even though, there are lots of people who have it. It was just, this
yeah,
was, your last resort. You don't do this unless you have to.
yeah,
But, it's not all bad, even
yeah.
though we make it sound like it. And
And
we
it's
kind of,
like you
we
said,
need
it's not something you want. It's like, oh, I'm gonna go out and get a
it.
trach. But if you need it, that might be the avenue for you.
Right, and it can improve your quality of life and give you so many other opportunities that might not have been healthy enough or just wouldn't have been able to do if you didn't have that trait to help support you.
Well, speaking of opportunities, you mentioned you're now I think it's column lead, correct?
Yes,
And
yes.
so what kind of added responsibilities do you have with that?
Is an awesome job. There's four of us who do that. A couple people who watch this maybe would know. Brianna Albers and Katie Napawaki are also column leads, and they and our other column lead, Christy, are wonderful to work with. And that for me, it's kind of a support and encouragement role. I get to be there to uplift my team and kind of boost their confidence in their writing and in themselves. I spend a lot of time reading drafts, which is one of my favorite things to do. And, I get to be the one that goes through this and, yes, helps them find the things they need to improve. But I also like to find all the things that are really good in that work and tell them, this is awesome. I love that you did this. And,
Fun.
get to encourage them.
And you work with columnists from various rare diseases, correct?
Yeah, I think right now I am covering the columnists on 8 of our sites.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I bet you learn a lot too.
you do, and you get to have the opportunity to read about, all these different disabilities and what their lives are like, and where they're similar to mine and where they're different. And it's just really cool. We have such a diverse group of people with such different stories.
Yeah, isn't that awesome? I love that too.
It is.
And I know from reading your columns, I know that volunteering and community engagement's really important to you. And how do you find time to fit that into your busy schedule?
I think when you grow up with SMA, you kind of have to be good at juggling anyway. So it's just one more ball added into the mix. And, there are days like, because I'm involved with a lot of organizations now, and they, kind of all need and want help. But sometimes you do have to say, I'm sorry, I can't right now. I'd love to. I'll support you how I can.
Yeah.
But, when I have time, where it fits around my job and medical appointments and all that, I love to jump in and do whatever big or small pieces that I can to help those organizations thrive and grow.
And I'm sure during the pandemic, it shifted a lot. How have you still been able to be involved, or what kind of things have changed in that aspect?
Yeah, fortunately, there was a big shift to virtual fundraising because that's most of what I do in my volunteer work is fundraising. But that was an adjustment. Right when the pandemic hit, I was working on one of our really big fundraisers at the Disability Center here that normally brings in about 1,000 people. And we had to cancel it 2 days before the event, which was just like heartbreaking for all of us that
I
worked for
bet.
6 months on this. But after that, it was just kind of a learning curve for everyone, and we shifted to all these virtual things. And I've still been able to join meetings and everything on Zoom like this, and I can fortunately do a lot of fundraising stuff, from my phone and from my iPad. So, we're everyone's looking forward to getting back to those in-person events, and they
Yeah.
are starting to come back. But it worked out really well that I was able to actually keep doing a lot of what I had already been doing.
Well, and I kind of hope that a lot of some of the virtual stuff sticks around, because
Right.
it's sometimes it's easier to participate, but yet the in person is fun too. So
Yeah, there's a lot of places, like even ones that I work with that, we're all talking about and looking at these kind of joint things where we have an in-person event and we have virtual events at the exact same time, so
yeah.
that wherever you are and whatever your situation, you're going to have an opportunity to join in.
And do you have any advice for someone who maybe wants to start volunteering or being involved, but they just maybe, I don't know, don't know how or don't know where to start? Do you have any advice?
I mean, the best place to start is anywhere that you're already involved in some way. Like, I've done little bits of volunteer work all through my life, but really started doing that more after I graduated high school at the Disability Center. And I've been a client there since I was 3 years old.
Okay.
So all I did was, message the people who were saying on social media, hey, we've got stuff that we need help with. And so I reached out to them and said, what can I help with? Because I'm already here, I'm already around. So I'm available anyway. And from
Yeah.
there, it just kind of it grows, and you'll have more and more opportunities, and you'll become more comfortable reaching out maybe to people that you don't know as well and aren't as familiar with.
Sure. Well, awesome. I love it. And I love your positivity. So keep that going.
Definitely.
Um, I guess it- that's all the questions I have for you today. I know I could probably talk to you for hours about all of your columns.
Sure.
Do you have any favorites that you want to mention or tell people, oh, you should read this?
Gosh, I mean, it gets so hard because I don't
Put you
know
on the
how many
spot.
dozens I've written, but one that comes to mind is actually one that I wrote a couple months ago that was really popular. What did I call it? I called it "There's More Than One Correct Way to Talk About Disability," and that one was really popular. And that's one that I'm really proud of. It's a really important conversation about that person first versus disability first language, which
Yeah.
is kind of the hot topic and a little bit of a sticky topic.
Yep.
So this one's fantastic. And also, this one actually isn't out yet, so I won't give you a title for it, but just so people can be on the lookout, I've got one that should come out on, I believe, the 15th that
Okay.
I'm really super excited about. So be
All
on the lookout
right.
for that.
Well, we'll look forward to that one. Any last pieces of advice for us or words of wisdom you'd like to share?
I don't know if I have anything specific, but if you want wisdom, we've got a wealth of that here at SMA News Today between, all of our columnists and the awesome bloggers like you and our podcast. So, I mean, whatever you're looking for, you can definitely find it on our site. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
we'll definitely link to the columns down below so you can check out all of our fantastic columnists. I think everyone gives a unique perspective, and I just love that.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you for joining me, and we will look forward to your next columns.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, thanks. Bye. I hope you enjoyed our conversation as much as I did. If you have any questions for Halsey or myself, please leave them in the comments below or head on over to our forums at smanewstoday.com/forums. But that's all I have for you today. We'll talk again soon. Bye for now.